Welcome to part two, talking about transformation with Larissa Halls. Larissa is a certified life coach, kinesiologist, yoga and meditation teacher, and we had so much fun talking all about transformation with her. We love the process of transforming our own lives and helping others do the same, so much so that it's what we called our podcast. There is constantly more to learn, little things to tweak or refine that can help us live a fuller, healthier life, a life to our fullest potential. If you have not listened to part one of our interview with Larissa Halls, please go back one and listen to episode 10, where we cover what the catalysts to transformation are, how to maintain a positive change, and how to start breaking those habits that don't serve you. And so without wasting any more time, let's get into our episode 11, part two of our interview with the incredible Larissa Halls.
Hello and welcome to the Transformation Project, a podcast and community for women who are looking to transform into the best version of themselves no matter where they are at. A place where you can listen, learn, and laugh along with us as we dive deep into different topics to help you live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled life. Remember, we are all learning here together, and therefore the content and opinions of the hosts and our guests should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.
So given all of the things that you've been through, right, over time and space and all of the amazing lessons that you've learned, and now you're a mama, right? So you've gone through all of the miscarriages and loss of children, and you have these beautiful gifts, children in front of you. How have you carried that into your being a mama? Obviously, we carry the lessons forward and share them with our kids, but for you, what's that look like?
So I've kind of looked at that like it's the void, the perception of loss or not having. So my void was not having kids and perhaps not facing at some stage, maybe not being able to have kids. I'm 42. I just had my second. I had my first at 38, which is a pretty norm these days. But biologically, even though it's the norm in society, still our bodies, So for me, because I had a perception of loss, I have a void. It's interesting. It's all still aligned with my purpose, because now my business, which I at one stage seen as my highest priority because it was entangled with my mission and purpose, which is to help connect people to their mission and purpose and actually carry it out. Don't let the human mind, the brain, stand in your way of your soul's calling. It has made me find better ways to do business because I have a void of not having kids. I want to spend time with my kids. So my question is, how can I spend more time with my kids and still impact the world in the same way? So I changed my question. So that is the moment when I decided that I could help more people doing online courses. So to learn how to do an online course, it was a $3,500 investment. And there's pain associated. I don't want to, it's a lot of money. I don't want to just give up that kind of money. Some people wouldn't care. I want my money to be in my bank account. But the pain of, so this is how you make a decision. So that $3,500, I thought, well, that's nothing really. Because at the end of the day, that $3,500 can be buying more time with my family. So do you see how I make a decision based on what's my highest value at that time? So it's this money can, in learning how to create online courses to help more people, one, allows me to have more time with my family and flexibility, and two, allows me to help more people. So having a void of not having kids, and now I have them, I want to hang out with them more than if when I was younger. And because I thought I'd have kids that was my plan. Good on you, Larissa. Don't make a plan. No, that was my plan. I wanted to have kids in my 20s, and I would have happily sent them to daycare 5 days a week. My mum was a family daycare mother. I know the kids are in good care with other people. That's what my original plan was. But the void of not having kids makes me want to hang out with my kids. Part of my mission and purpose is to share I suppose the information, I don't, none of it's mine. It's just comes to me or through me at like John West, the projects at the middle of the night, is just to still share and do what I do. But it's allowed me to find a better way to do it. So then I can still go about doing what I love, which is hanging out with my kids. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Was that what you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of about giving people a bit of an insight into you as a mama as well, because it's so beautiful, Larissa, and I think it's because of the journey that you've been through, where you just hold it so close to your heart, and you just, everything that you share is so genuine. I love it.
Thank you. It was interesting just to hear how you perceive me. I don't see you a lot, but I admire what you're doing. You're out there doing so many amazing things, but I believe everything is exactly how it needs to be. And with the miscarriages, I'm not someone who gets too over emotional about it, because I know, because it's life and, you know, everything happens. There's nothing out of order. The worst thing you could ever say to someone when they go through trauma or something bad is everything happens for a reason. Like, I know that. And when people say that to me, when I just lost a baby, like at 13 weeks, you still just want to punch them in the face. So you never say that to anyone who's just gone through trauma or a traumatic experience, but it's like nothing's out of order. That's how I put it in my head. And it's just finding, I think I said to you, there was like a little story, and you probably heard it before. It's a Zen story, and I love it. I tell it in my yoga classes sometimes. It's about a Zen farmer who has a horse. It's in ancient China, and he's regarded as wealthy because he has a horse, which means he can plow fields and it yields more crops. And one day his horse ran away off into the scrub, didn't come back. And the people in the town all got together and goes, "Oh, you poor thing, this is so horrible that your horse ran away. How are you going to plow your crops?" And he's like, "So horrible? Maybe." And then a week later, the horse returned, and it returned with 3 wild horses. And they come into his paddock, and now he has 4 horses. So his horse ran away, he brought back 4 horses, and people are like, "This is amazing. Oh my gosh, you've now got 4 horses." And he's just going, "Yeah, maybe, And then the next morning, his son decided to get up and, what is it called when you like break in a horse? You tame the horse, and it bucked him off and he broke his leg. And of course, the people of the town are like, "Oh, this is horrendous. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. Your son has broken his leg. You've got the, busy season coming up." And he just said, "Oh, maybe." Then the next morning, the emperor and the military come into town who were conscripting young men to the war. And because he had a broken leg, they looked past him and he wasn't conscripted to war. So this old man knows that no event can be judged in isolation. He practices the way of the Zen, which is non-judgment. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I don't have judgments. Everybody does. It's the brain's normal thing to judge something or someone as good or bad, pleasure or pain, threat, or it's okay to hang out with them. We're judging beings because it's a survival mechanism. But it takes, well, for me, it's a lot of practice, a lot of learning, and constant practice to just kind of stand back from the emotion or stand back from what's going on and just start to integrate it. So see both sides of what's happening. So when something happens, like, I lose my 4th baby or something, it's like, okay, obviously I feel all the feels, and it's like, okay, like I know that this is going to be part of something that is nudging me towards something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be part of the mosaic, I suppose, if you see your life and all of its events as one little piece of a beautiful, vast landscape, this beautiful picture. It's this one tiny little piece. And I can only see this one tiny little piece at the moment, but I know it's this little piece that is going to expand in this beautiful, colourful life that I'm living in, I'm participating in. That's how I slowly learnt to look at things. And that's why I love to share it, because it's so much nicer than when I was stuck in oscillating emotions. It feels like you're being tossed around in an ocean of like pleasure, pain, hurt, yeah. So that's why I love to share it.
I think that's really interesting, because I can remember, funny enough, at a Tony Robbins event too, we had to kind of figure out who we were most grateful for that we'd come across in our lives. And the person who immediately popped in my brain was my ex-husband, who had an absolutely awful marriage and continue to, I have nothing to do with him for many reasons. However, I would not be the person I was today if I had not gone through those 10 years of like horrendous marriage. And my daughter would not be the person she was today if she didn't have to have a dad like that. She would not have the character that she has, and neither would I. I was really kind of like flirty and wishy-washy, and when I met him and when I came out, I was like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
What you were like?
It's like a baptism by fire. I was just like, it was a completely different human being, and too hard. Then it's taken these ladies and many others that had to soften me up after that, because then I was kind of, hard as a rock, really emotionally. And so for me, I always say to my children, you never lose. You either win or you learn. And there is always a silver lining to everything. It's just sometimes a little harder to find it, depending on what the situation is.
That's right. It depends how much, like if you're somebody who's reflecting, one, I think too, it's important to have the tools to be able to do it, but it depends how far in the emotion you are. Because sometimes when you're in it, you can't see it. But when you're away from it, that's when they say time heals, because when you're away from it, you can look back, you can look from afar, and you can see you can join the dots like you've done. Oh, now I understand that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have this. Like every road is leading you to who you need to be. But that's not how society is constructed. It's like, oh, you poor thing, this happened to you. You know what I mean? And to me, I like to explain it's not positive thinking. It's balanced thinking, because positive thinking is sometimes negating that it was shit. It was hard. It was horrendous. Yes, it was. But it was also, it's that whole thing of, as we know, if you break your arm and you have a cast on, then when you get that cast off, you've got weak muscles. That's like if you over support yourself or your children, you become, sounds harsh, but you're weak. You know what I mean? It's like I was this timid little thing when I was a kid, and my dad, like a lot of men of his era, when he doesn't know what to do with his emotions, he drinks. He's an alcoholic. He drinks every day. And so I quite often had to stand up I learnt to stand up and stick up for myself to my dad. And I thank him every day for his actions. I'm not traumatized by some of the things he does. I just look back and I say, thank you. I'm grateful because you made me who I was. I was, suppose you're a typical empath as a kid. A dead bird on the road, I'd cry. You know what I mean? I cried in movies. I was just an emotional mess, but I had to exercise other parts of my beings and bring that part of my being out. But you can't do that when you're always being supported. It's like the muscle needs the challenge to grow. And so your husband was the one that helped, ex-husband, obviously, helped you grow into yourself and bring those things out, because we don't get good at something that we don't use or we don't have to be. So
no, there's no growth in your comfort zone. Unfortunately not, because it's really cozy there sometimes.
Which creates, what's transformation? Transformation is growth. Can't transform and do nothing, You can't transform and it feels nice. Like everyone would do it. It's that constant coming, like if Jess really wanted to, have a massive bank account and just focus on the fun, you'd have to spend time and energy there continually to get the benefits. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like exercise. You can't just exercise for 6 months and then that's it for the rest of your life. You have to create time and space in your life, even when it's uncomfortable. But people, that's when they bail out.
Yeah.
When it's uncomfortable. So.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I just feel like there is so much honesty in what you share, and the fact that we're talking about the comfort zone and how it, you know, creates growth, and you're a perfect example of that as well.
And I need to say this because it's coming, I'll say it in the way that I feel it. It's coming through to me. People are wussers these days. Like, we're fed a load of horse crap that it's, do this, it's going to be easy. Oh, do this, you can be whoever you want to be. Oh, why don't you, like, oh, I earn $1 million a day, and I just woke up one day and changed my thinking, it happened. That is just bull crap. It is hard. It stretches you. You have to change your brain. You have to literally, your brain's plastic and it can change, but it's freaking hard, right? Like, as I said, so many people are just massive wuzzers these days. And I'm just like, people come say, oh, but this is happening and that. I'm like, yeah, that is what transformation is. That is what change is. That is what you have to do, the hard shit. You have to do the hard stuff. You know, and you have to face your own stuff. You have to heal, and it hurts to heal because you have to revisit the crap. You have to do the hard stuff, you know, to transform and to live the life you love. It feels all great. You're never always going to love everything that happens to you. But my favorite teacher, Dr. John DeMartini, teaches that love is a complementary opposites. Like, loving your life means you like half of it and you hate half. Think of your husband or your partner right now. Like, there's shit that you hate about them, but you still love them. You know, living the life you love isn't having everything perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. That's why it's important, I feel, to be doing what you choose and want to be doing, because it's going to be hard anyways. You might as well choose hard in what you want to do.
Yeah, yep. Hard in what you love instead of hard in what you hate.
Correct. Yes. Totally, Jess. Yes. Choose hard, but you're going to get hard anyways. So you might as well be doing what you love.
Yeah, totally.
And it be hard than doing something because you're too scared or you're fearful or you don't want to face your own demons or whatever. It's going to be hard anyway. So just choose your hard. Some people gasp, like clients gasp at some of the stuff I say. I'm like, you're living in a fantasy land, mate. You think everything's going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's hard. It's okay. And hard is okay. And that is life. And, you know, they say when you're doing what you love, it just flows. You know what? Sometimes it flows and sometimes it's backed up to the hilt. Like, you can't get through, but you're more likely to push through and get through and persevere when it is something you love, or you know it's part of, I always say, like, your purpose and your calling isn't necessarily a job. You know, it could be a thing. Like, you're here to enjoy great adventures. You go work for someone so you can have the money to live an adventurous life, you know, but at the moment that's hard because you have to create adventures at home or adventures, you know, on your own soil, so to speak.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you are working on now so people know what to expect and where to look for you?
Okay, thanks, Jess. At the moment, I am working on, so I have a signature course that's called Life with Everyday Inspiration, which I decided to create. I took all the things that help women or my clients transform the most and created a course because I thought, well, I want to spend more time with my kids and then I can reach more people that way. So that's quite a comprehensive course. So I'm like, no, I want to have like something easy for people, like a little bite-sized thing that women can kind of dip their toe into learning how to train their brain, I suppose, to create transformation in their life. So one thing I'm working on, it should be out soon, is new habits now. How to create a new habit. And I remember this client I had years ago about, I was eating Tim Tams and I don't know why. So I go into a little bit about how our brain works when it comes to, you know, creating new habits. So I go through that pleasure and pain, you know, challenge and support thing, how our brain's always just going, is this or that, pleasure or sport, you know, one or the other. And I think I told you ladies before, and I have to mention it, I thought I want to create like a little mini ebook just because I want it out there, that just is called What the Heck Is This Pose? Because I teach yoga and I want to create like a little book that helps people who are old, fat, tight asses, you know, who say they want to do yoga and enjoy the benefits of yoga, but they're like, oh, I tried it and it hurts. Yoga shouldn't hurt. Or I tried it and I'm doing it wrong. Or the first time I tried yoga, I'm a yoga teacher now, but the first time I ever tried it, the teacher was horrible. I asked her questions at the end and she dismissed me and I was like, what the hell? I literally left crying the yoga class. So I'm creating a little ebook that it's like a pose library, which will be very similar to if you went and did a yoga course. I like to be a yoga teacher, but it will have a pose and then we'll have pictures of all the variations to do. So like if you can't touch your toes, you have the option to do this. And I'll take a picture, I've planned out all the pictures I'm going to take. Or if you can't do this pose, or if your gut gets in the way because you're fat, try this. Yeah. So I just want to be able to help people. I always feel, obviously, yoga and meditation is something people can do to release, like calm their minds. It's when we're in autopilot, in stress, it's really hard to make conscious decisions to change, because when we're stressed, our conscious, rational executive center, like a frontal lobe, goes offline and we just get back into our kind of reptilian brain, like habit. We just get into habit. So that's why I always say the first step is just to stop, get kind of present, however you want to do that, gardening, whatever. But mine's like yoga, meditation. Get present. You got to create an image, do the stuff, do the work, and then you can take the actions. There's two parts to, creating momentum and change. It's like stop, the vision. How do you need to think and feel and act and be? And, where do I need to shift my values? And then the passive and active part, like anything, there's a balance. There's two parts to it. So, and my business name's Everyday Inspiration. So obviously you can find me at everydayinspiration.com.au on Instagram. At the moment, my name's, you can search Larissa Halls, or I've just put Inspired Change Coach, because I thought at the end of the day, that's what I help people do is help them change. Because it's hard. Let's face it, change is hard. And we need help. So yeah, thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome to meet you. I see why Karen loves you.
Oh, thank you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, any opportunity to share some of the things that I've learned is, I'm really grateful for. So thanks, Karen, for asking me to come on. I love what you ladies are doing, because more people and more women, or just people, it's not a gender thing, it's just need to hear stories and different views on different things, because sometimes the first time you hear it you don't get it, and then someone will say the same thing in a different way and you're like, oh, I get that now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone who has been listening. Please make sure that you head over, give us a review if you like what you're hearing, and make sure to share it with a friend, that you can have conversations the same way that we do.